The more I think about it, the stranger it gets. But my gut were telling me, don't stay there.
In April of 2023, a YouTuber named Gaz uploaded a pretty disturbing video on his channel Grizzly Gaz in which he recorded footage of his strange encounter in the woods. His channel mostly featured him camping in some pretty extreme conditions with his French bulldog named Fendi. His videos are usually very wholesome and exciting, however, in this particular video that was not the case. In the video, Gaz along with his dog Fendi went camping in the woods somewhere in the UK. Initially, he showed his viewers how he set up his tent and chopped wood to start a fire. Everything seemed fairly normal up to this point. However, as he started to prepare his dinner, a random stranger in jeans and a coat appeared out of nowhere at his campsite and asked him for a beer and some food, which caused this to happen.
Right, we've got steaks on go now. Bit of ribeye. Pot boiling for some mash. And I've got a visitor. Creeped up behind me asking me if I had a light. I shit me pants. This is Martin anyway.
Hey.
I don't know him, but he's stopping for a steak.
Just some random crate wandering about.
You went round here in a poncho a couple of months ago, were you?
I don't think I was. I could have been. It's possible.
Right, gonna get these cooked up.
Even though the encounter between Gaz and Martin seemed pretty friendly, it's still very scary to suddenly be approached by a random guy in the middle of nowhere. If you listen closely to what he's saying, some of his sentences are a little peculiar, and he appears to slur his words when he talks. While they were enjoying their dinner, Martin mentioned that he was homeless and told Gaz the story about how he had ruined his life with drugs. To make things even more creepy, Gaz mentioned that while they were having dinner, he turned around for a few seconds to chop some more wood to keep the fire going, and when he turned back around, Martin had disappeared.
That lad, Martin, who creeped up behind me asking for a light. After I fed him, he scurried straight off. I did ask Martin if he's been creeping about in these woods before, but thinking, is he going to come back? The more I think about it, the stranger it gets. I turned round to cut some firewood up, and when I turned back round, he'd gone. I just found that really strange. The fact that he just left has put the EBGBs up me, but I've left my trail camera down there. We'll go back in the morning, but my gut were telling me don't stay there, so I packed up, thrown a load of water on fire. Now I'm making my way out.
After the strange encounter, Gaz finally decided to leave the campsite and head home. He was afraid that the man might come back to rob him. As he had expensive filming equipment with him, there was also the possibility that the man might do something even worse to him. Out of curiosity, Gaz left a trail camera on one of the trees at the campsite to see if the man would return that night. To his surprise, when Gaz went back the next morning, the trail camera had been stolen.
Well, I am living every solo camper's nightmare right now. There appears to be an animal of some kind pacing around my tent. It's the middle of the night.
In May 2018, a YouTuber named John uploaded a chilling video titled Maintaining Sanity with an Animal Outside the Tent on his channel Lost Lakes. His channel focuses on outdoor exploration, and he often uploads footage of his solo adventures throughout Canada. His videos are usually very entertaining and informative. However, in this particular video, that was far from the truth. In the video, John ventures into a remote region in Ontario, Canada, where he claims there was no cell phone reception. At approximately 3:30 in the morning, John was awakened by an unusual sound coming from outside his tent and decided to record this disturbing encounter.
Well, I am living every solo camper's nightmare right now. There appears to be an animal of some kind pacing around my tent. It's the middle of the night. I woke up at 3 a.m. and just couldn't sleep. And then around 3:30, I started to hear this pacing sound, and 45 minutes later, it's still pacing around out there. So I'm gonna talk it out with the GoPro and maintain sanity, and maybe the talking will make it go away. I'm just off Highway 101, west of Chapleau. So this is some very remote country, despite being right off the highway, and it's the black bear capital of the world. So I'm thinking that's a possibility.
As John just pointed out, he was camping in the area known as the black bear capital of the world, making it quite probable that there was indeed a bear or another large animal close to the tent. In these circumstances, a weak camping tent offers minimal to no defense against an aggressive 600-pound predator. To add to the situation, when John decides to go back to his car, he discovered that his keys were missing, and just a few minutes later he hears something touching his tent.
And my car is literally right outside there, but I can't find my car key for the life of me. I think I may have left it in the car. So while I'm tempted to hop out and get in the car, turn on my headlights, just not an option right now because I'm an idiot and I can't find my key. And the pacing continues. It's all gravel here. This is so I can hear everything on the gravel. I can hear all the footsteps, but anyway, the talking isn't making it go away, but it hasn't made a move toward the tent yet, so I don't know. Maybe it's biding its time for an attack. I don't know. Something literally just touched my tent before I turned on the camera, but I'm not really appreciated right now. Second, there's no cell signal here. And third, I have to pee. It's really just comical. Almost.
As the footsteps continued outside his tent, John was overwhelmed with fear and paranoia. To distract himself from the unsettling scenario, he revealed to his viewers the protective gear he had packed for his camping trip, which included a hatchet, bear spray, and an air horn. Thankfully, John didn't need to use any of these tools, as the noises eventually stopped, allowing him to sleep peacefully for the night. However, he never discovered the true source of the disturbances outside his tent. This right here is a YouTuber named William, who in October of 2023 uploaded a video titled "Most Scared I've Ever Been While Stealth Camping" on his channel Truesdale TV. His channel primarily focuses on outdoor exploration, and he frequently uploads footage of his stealth camping experiences in various locations across the UK. In this video, William takes things to a whole new level by stealth camping alone in a haunted forest known as Ballybully Forest. For those unfamiliar with this location, the Ballybully Forest is regarded as one of the most haunted forests in both Northern Ireland and the UK. According to the legend, Ballybully was a significant site for high-ranking priests during ancient Celtic cultures, with stone formations and trenches scattered throughout the forest. Many nearby locals steer clear of the area, and those who venture in are cautious to remain on the path because of its disturbing history of ghost sightings and mysterious disappearances. From the 15th to 17th centuries, over 30 people vanished in the forest, and even now, numerous individuals have reported seeing shadowy figures and hearing strange noises at night. In the video, William begins his exploration by venturing deep into the woods in search of a suitable camping spot. He immediately admits to his viewers that he feels a bit freaked out about spending the night in the forest. Despite this, he continues to explore and eventually finds a good spot to set up his campsite. As the night begins to set in, he prepares his dinner and decides to call it a night. However, while he was trying to go to sleep, he suddenly hears footsteps approaching his tent, and this is when things start to take a very bizarre turn for William.
Cheers, folks. Hear that? Come here. Come here.
After hearing footsteps next to his tent, William called out to whoever or whatever was outside, but he unfortunately didn't get any response. The footsteps eventually stopped, and William, in a state of panic, stepped outside to investigate the source of the mysterious footsteps, but disturbingly, he found no one outside. After this strange encounter, he returned back to his tent, and as he was trying to make sense of what had just happened, something forcefully struck the side of his tent.
What the f***? Did you hear that? Did you It's going off, who's out there? Oh, I'm paranoid. There's something like that in the or like, was that me? I don't know. Wait, we have to investigate this shit. I can't sleep in here with this shit. I can get myself worked out.
After hearing something strike his tent, William, afraid for his life, called out to see who was there. When no one responded, he stepped outside his tent, but yet again found nothing outside. Having heard footsteps earlier, and now experiencing something striking his tent, William was consumed by fear and paranoia. This ultimately led him to set up a camera outside his tent to monitor his surroundings. Unfortunately for William, the camera didn't record anything unusual, making it even more disturbing for William to make sense of what he was witnessing. Despite feeling anxious, William eventually went to sleep and left the forest early in the morning, and as of the time this video was uploaded, he has not returned back to the haunted Ballyboley forest.
I think someone's outside the back. 2:30. Someone just tried the door.
This right here is a YouTuber named Brendan, who in February of 2024 uploaded a video titled Scary Attack While Van Camping on his channel Brendan Explores. His channel is dedicated to outdoor exploration, and he frequently uploads footage of his stealth camping experiences while traveling across the UK in his camper van. In this particular video, Brendan chose to go stealth camping near a residential area located at Jaywick Sands Beach. Brendan begins the video by parking his van in a nearby parking area and exploring the local surroundings. However, he finds the area too strange and noisy for his liking, as he hears many bikes and cars racing around him. Therefore, he decides to drive about 30 minutes to a nearby forest. After locating a good spot to park his van, he felt satisfied with the quiet and peaceful surroundings, and it seemed like he was alone in the woods. As the night began to set in, Brendan enjoyed his dinner and decided to go to bed around 10 p.m. However, at approximately 2:30 a.m., he was suddenly awakened by the sound of footsteps outside his van. It was at this moment that Brendan encountered something truly disturbing.
Nice and quiet here. Not even a sound of a distant car. Just how I like it. It's absolutely dead quiet. I'll see you in the morning. I think someone's outside the back. 2:30. Someone just tried the door. Hey! Right, whoever the that was has now gone.
After hearing someone trying to unlock his side door, and then moments later witnessing the glass of his passenger side window shatter into pieces, Brendan quickly shouted at the individuals and stepped out of his van. Unfortunately, the person ran off before Brendan could confront or identify anyone. After this bizarre encounter, Brendan, without thinking twice, drove 3 hours back to his house. The next morning, Brendan gave a detailed update to his viewers and mentioned that the individual who attempted to break into his car likely saw his fridge sitting on the passenger seat. When they failed to unlock the doors, they broke the glass window in an effort to steal the fridge, or even the van itself. However, when they heard Brendan shout and realized someone was inside the van, they quickly fled back to their own cars. Despite his van being damaged, Brendan was fortunately unharmed during the break-in and managed to safely make it back home. He later mentioned that out of the hundreds of camping trips he has taken, this was the most scared he has ever been. However, he also stated that he wouldn't let this disturbing encounter stop him from camping in the future.
This guy is really starting to freak me out. It's been like a half an hour and he just keeps on moving his vehicle, so he's just staring me down and I'm afraid to go up the front there, but...
I was down in my tent, not asleep, listening to all the sounds, and then I heard somebody down by the shelter. So at first I had to convince myself it wasn't what I thought I heard, but it definitely was somebody down there.
This right here is a YouTuber named Phil, who in December of 2021 uploaded a video titled Creepy Night in the Woods on his channel Hike Slam. His channel primarily focuses on outdoor exploration, and he regularly shares footage of his hiking and camping experiences throughout North America. In this particular video, Phil chose to go on a solo overnight hike along the Appalachian Trail in Virginia. He starts the video by venturing deep into the woods in search of a suitable camping location for the night. The first few minutes of his hike seemed to go smoothly, and everything appeared to be quite normal. However, about 30 minutes into the hike, he stumbles upon some peculiar trash along the trail. Oddly enough, some of the containers he discovers have writing on them that resembles song lyrics and poems. Nevertheless, Phil chooses to ignore the peculiar writing and carries on with his hike. As he explores further, he encounters another set of strange notes and writings as he approaches the campsite. This time, however, Phil notices a dead duck lying next to the notes, and this is when things start to take a very disturbing turn for Phil.
The weirdness continues. What the hell? And there's a dead duck here. A very long note. And it looks like it was just put here because it's not wet. That duck is fairly recently killed. Alright. Kind of creepy.
After discovering another set of disturbing writings and cryptic poems, Phil finds a dead duck lying next to them. At that moment, he notices a campsite just a few yards away from the notes and the dead duck. It's unclear whether the person who wrote the notes is also responsible for killing the duck. Nevertheless, Phil decides to keep his distance from the campsite and continues on his hike. As he makes his way up the trail, he encounters two women hiking down the trail.
Okay, well that was really weird. So as I was hiking toward the shelter, these two women were hiking in the opposite direction. They had a little dog with them. They asked if I had seen the guy who was leaving the notes. I said he has a campsite down by the river. They were shocked I was still considering camping out there, but they said that they were kind of freaked out and asked if I would go with them and walk past his campsite so they could get back to their car. So I did, and then when I got back to my truck, and I'm actually on the Appalachian Trail, just going the opposite direction. But I'm just going to find the closest camp spot to where I'm at because the sun is going down, and set up camp and yeah, settle in for the night.
Phil mentioned that the two women asked him if he had seen a man leaving disturbing notes and dead animals. When he told them he noticed a campsite just a few yards away from the notes, the women, afraid for their lives, asked him to walk back to their car with them. Phil agreed and walked back with them before heading in the opposite direction to find a safer place to camp for the night. Once Phil arrived at the shelter, he set up camp for the night and enjoyed his dinner, far away from the unsettling notes. Later that night, Phil went into the shelter to check out the camp log and read some of the notes and stories left by other hikers. That's when Phil discovered something extremely disturbing once again.
I'm gonna check out the shelter log here. Almost every shelter on the Appalachian Trail has a shelter log. So it's kind of cool tradition here. So let's see what this one says. All right, let's see what's happened recently. Holy crap. Wait a second. This writing looks almost exactly like the writing that was on that garbage a couple of miles from here.
It's important to note that the shelter where Phil is currently located is more than 2 miles away and is situated entirely on the opposite side of the road from the notes and ducks he saw earlier. The handwriting in the camp log is identical to the handwriting he found in the previous notes and trash. The situation becomes increasingly disturbing as Phil starts to read through the logbook.
In 2018, while I was incarcerated at the Okaloosa County Jail, what the heck? In solitary confinement, I figured the following out. Refer to Isaiah 28:15. Here in early 2017, Trump, Nebo, allowed Obama to have the special use of the Air Force One for a trip to Palm Springs. This is the same ramblings from the guy that was on the other side of the river. That's kind of scary. Wow, this is weird. It's just like it goes in one direction, then immediately goes in a completely different direction. And there's just so much of it. Like this line up here. Think grave robbery in an attempt to obscure the reality of little Mrs. Wolf. In the past, the Russian collusion assertion have been followed up on many occasions with the advancement of illusions that would show discord in fiction between the colluding parties. You're falling faster. Obey your master. What the heck? Okay, that's crazy.
After reading the logbook, it's evident that a convicted felon has been wandering through the woods, leaving disturbing notes all over the place. The writing raises concerns about his mental stability, which is particularly alarming considering that Phil is alone in the middle of nowhere at night and doesn't seem to have anything to defend himself with. As Phil walked back to the shelter, he noticed a bottle hanging from a string on the ceiling. Attached to it was a note in the same handwriting as before, that read, "Watch out for Yeet Mouse, the dead do walk and talk." Disturbed by everything he was witnessing, Phil was overwhelmed with fear and anxiety. He ultimately decided to return to his tent and call it a night. However, as he tried to fall asleep, he heard footsteps approaching the shelter right next to his tent.
Okay, I'm out on the trail. It's the middle of the night. I was down in my tent listening to all the sounds, and then I heard somebody down by the shelter. So at first I had to convince myself it wasn't what I thought I heard, but it definitely was somebody down there. So I packed up all my stuff and I walked past. As I walked past, it did look like a single guy hanging out in the shelter. He had a headlamp on. All I could really see was the light from the headlamp, so I could have been wrong. So I don't know. I just got out of there.
After hearing footsteps outside his tent, Phil peeked out and noticed a man with a headlamp wandering around the shelter. Unsure if this was the same individual who had been leaving notes, he quickly gathered his things and headed back to his truck. Fortunately for Phil, he was not being followed or stalked and returned home safely. As of the time this video was uploaded, Phil has not gone back hike to the Appalachian Trail. The identity of the person who left the creepy notes and killed the duck remains unclear, and since Phil never found out the truth behind these disturbing experiences, this mystery might remain unsolved.